Good morning. Good morning, everyone. You guys are up early wanting to get this good information so that you guys can build wealth. I love it. I love it. Good morning, everyone. Saturday morning. And so I'm going to be talking about wholesaling. Wholesaling is one of my favorite strategies as a real estate investor. I've been wholesaling real estate for many years. I'm going to have a couple people come on. They're running a little late, but a couple of my coaching students will be on in a few minutes. If you guys, this is going to be very, very interactive. And so if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. I see a lot of you guys are on already. Clinton is in the house. Karen, Donna, Shell, Jolie. What's happening this morning? And so get pen and paper. I want you guys to take some notes. I'm probably only going to keep you about an hour. Um, but I want you to walk away from this having a good idea on how to wholesale real estate. I want you to have a great idea on how to wholesale real estate. We've introduced wholesaling to many of our students, and they're just they're kicking it. This is Andre Cooper. Andre Cooper, thank you for joining. Andre Cooper started wholesaling, and he's just doing a great job as well. And so here's one thing I want everybody to walk away with. If I can wholesale, if Andre can wholesale, Marquise will be joining us probably in about 15, 20 minutes. If we can wholesale, you can too. Wholesaling is a cash buy for
go. Since then, I acquired another one, so I have two properties. I'm working on a few, but I do a lot of cold calling and door knocking. I do a lot of talking to people so I can find deals. So I got into wholesaling to get, to build up the cash flow to acquire properties. So I kind of got into real estate investing by default, just trying to buy and hold.
And so so I started my career off buying and holding. And I just didn't have the capacity as a 23-year-old to keep buying and holding, because when you buy and hold, at least back then, you had to put down like 20%. And so I didn't have enough money to keep buying and holding. And so I would buy and hold one property. My goal was to buy and hold one property a year. And honestly, that should be everybody's goal. But as a 23-year-old, I said, I'm just going to buy and hold one property a year and just keep learning. So I would do that, rent that property out, save my money, and then buy and hold another property. About 5 years later, I decided to get my real estate license. The real estate agents were moving too slow. And I got my license so that I could, run my own comps, write my own contracts, find my own properties. Then I started finding more and more opportunities. And so I started fixing and flipping. One of Andre's mentors, my mentor, Thurman Battle, him and I back in the 90s were flipping properties together until I really learned how to flip on my own. And then I got all these opportunities. I started wholesaling. And to be honest with you, I love wholesaling. Probably is my number one strategy. I just love wholesaling because there's an ease of wholesaling. There's the ease of putting a property, finding the opportunity. And we're going to talk about how to find the opportunities, putting them under contract, using the purchase and sales agreement, finding a cash buyer. And I have a cash buyer's list. And then getting them to sign the assignment agreement and making $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 in 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, it's just with little to no stress,
right?
Using none of my own money, and being able to close that deal. And so I love wholesaling. And before this hour is over, hopefully you guys are going to love wholesaling. The key to wholesaling, you guys, the key is, and what you have to focus on, and now Andre focuses on this, is you got to be able to find the opportunities. And the opportunity is an investment property that meets a certain formula. And if you're able to do that and just kind of understand the dynamics of that, you're going to make a lot of money. But here's the thing that I don't want you to forget. there's two strategies with real estate investing. There's the buy for cash strategy, and that's wholesaling and flipping properties. And there's the buy for cash flow, equity, and appreciation. That's the buy and hold strategy. Ultimately, you guys, your goal is to buy and hold properties. That's how you're going to build wealth. That's how you're going to build generational wealth and leave a legacy for your children, for your children's children. That's how you're going to be able to retire financially free. And so we use wholesaling as a mechanism to get the cash, and then use that cash to then buy and hold. And I know Andre is doing that. Andre, you have some buy and holds.
Yes.
Where in Baltimore?
Yeah, I have my buy and holds, particularly in Baltimore, because it's a lower market. It's cheaper, you buy low and rent high. So my focus is in Baltimore now. It's up and coming. So yeah, I love Baltimore.
Yeah, I do too. Let me just say this about Baltimore, though, as it relates to wholesaling, you guys. Generally speaking, in Baltimore, the wholesale fees that we get are somewhere around 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 in Baltimore, which is good. I remember back in the day, if you got a $5,000 wholesale fee, you were elated. But I will say this: here, where we are in the DMV in DC, PG County, the wholesale fees are a lot higher. It's not uncommon to see a $30,000 wholesale fee, especially a property in DC. When Marquise comes on, he'll talk about $50,000 wholesale fees, $100,000 wholesale fees. I've paid out this one of my real estate agents turned investor $120,000 wholesale fee because she was able to put a property under contract in DC at a very low price, a probate deal. And she offered the opportunity to me. I even negotiated lower. And then when I saw the contract, I think I negotiated, I don't really remember the numbers. I think she was under contract for about 150, and I negotiated 270. And I didn't know what she was under contract for, but at 270, I stood to make about $120,000. I was happy at 270. Got the contract from her, and I saw what she got, what she was under contract for, which meant I had to pay her a $120,000 wholesale fee.
Right.
I had to take a deep breath, but then I was happy to pay her. I was happy to pay her, and she got paid $120,000 in 3 weeks. I got paid $120,000 in about 9 months, and so that's the difference. And that's not normal, but that is the difference.
Yeah, no, so. Also, I want to enlighten everybody that I'm also a real estate agent. So wholesaling, I love wholesaling because it's not, when you traditionally doing a real estate deal, you have to wait 30 days for closing, or you got to make sure the buyer and everybody's, been approved. And this, it's a lot of stuff that goes with that. But with wholesaling, you get somebody under contract. 2-3 days, 7 days, you getting paid. This is a quick, easy turnover. And that's what I love about wholesaling. Not all the fees associated also with it. Meaning as far as the seller doesn't have to pay a lot of fees. The buyer, typically pays, the end buyer typically pays all the closing costs of the wholesaler. You get paid. It's almost like doing a flip, like without touching the paintbrush.
And so let's start from the beginning. And you guys, I'm looking at a handout that you guys can actually find on my Instagram page. You can go to my Instagram page at Greg Bennett Invest and click the link in my bio, and there's a handout. And so I'm reading off the handout right now. And so number one on the handout is what's wholesaling. So wholesaling is really the art of finding a property that meets the certain formula, the Mayo formula. So finding a motivated seller, putting a property under contract, and then assigning that contract to a cash buyer. So we're going to find a property at a discounted price, put it under contract with the seller, and then we, as the wholesaler slash buyer, is going to find a cash buyer to take over the contract below market. And honestly, we do that every day of the week. There's no particular market that's better than others. As a matter of fact, I like this market because cash buyers are actually paying a little more for properties, and it's the market is a little distressed because of the pandemic. A lot of banks are now saying, your forbearance agreements are over, and so now a lot of homeowners unfortunately aren't able to sell. So we're starting to see a lot of short sales. Andre and I are doing a short sale right now together that he's wholesaled to me. And so there's lots of opportunities. But wholesaling is finding an opportunity, putting it under contract, and then finding a cash buyer to take over that contract. With wholesaling, there's two contracts, you guys. There's a purchase and sales agreement between you, the wholesaler, and the cash and the motivated seller. That's the A to B. The A is the motivated seller. The B is you, the buyer slash wholesaler. So the A to B contract is the purchase and sales contract. The B to C contract is the assignment agreement. And so on the assignment agreement, it states that you, the wholesaler slash buyer, is assigning all the rights and responsibilities to the cash buyer for a certain fee. So say, for example, Andre wholesales, finds a property, he does his marketing, and we'll let Andre talk about all the different types of marketing that he does. So let's say Andre finds a property, talks to the motivated seller, makes them an offer, and they agree to his offer. They sign a purchase and sales agreement. And then Andre gives me a call. So the property in Suitland, Maryland, he found that that particular motivated seller through networking. He went over the property, put her on the contract. She agreed to the price, and then he gave me a call. I think I went and looked at the property, and then we, for example, this didn't happen this way, but we signed an assignment agreement. I'll explain how we did it. And so that's what wholesaling is. That's exactly what wholesaling is. Now, another way you can do it is actually how we did it was the particular property is a short sale. So one might say, how can you wholesale a short sale? And so I use an LLC as the buyer. And so I use an LLC. I made up an LLC, the address LLC. Let's just say 123 Main Street LLC. We got that approved by the bank, the contract. Now, if I wanted to wholesale that contract, I can just assign the rights of the LLC to the cash buyer. I'll explain more of that later. That may have sounded confusing, but that's what wholesaling is. Right. Now, a traditional wholesale deal takes 2 or 3 weeks. As a wholesaler, you're not putting up any of your cash. You're not showing any of your credit. You're not even putting up earnest money deposit. You're not showing a lender's letter. We use the cash buyer's lender's letter, proof of funds. All you're doing is getting real good at finding the opportunities and knowing how to put them on the contract. Now, do you need coaching for that? Absolutely. If you've never done it, or if you're new at that game, you need some mentorship, you need coaching. We do provide that coaching, but it's just a great way. Another question I get all the time, I see a lot of you guys are in the house. Michael Blackman is here, Kevin, Donna Perry, always supporting. Rashida, your girl Rashida's on here, Andre.
Shout out.
Patience, Dwayne, Donna, Jeff, Michelle. Okay. And so we just love it. We just love wholesaling. So let me. So
I was going to tell them, Greg, if they're listening, they should join your program because so they can learn more about wholesaling, because y'all got some great content and it's definitely lucrative. I mean, you got to invest in yourself. You know what I mean?
And you've got to take action. So one thing I like about Andre is he gets the information and then he takes action. Wholesalers, you don't necessarily need to hire a contractor or do repairs. And a lot of people would say, one of the biggest, I would say, one of the biggest challenges in our industry, as it relates to investing, one of the biggest challenges is finding a good contractor. As a wholesaler, you don't necessarily need a contractor. You just need to learn how to find the opportunities, do the marketing, and put that property under contract. And you don't need a lot of experience doing it. Now, someone has to be able to calculate whether the property is a good deal or not. And so we use what's called the Mayo formula. The Mayo stands for maximum allowable offer. And so you guys get the handout, because all this information is on my handout. It's go to the link in my bio on Instagram, and you'll find the handout. We use the Mayo formula. The Mayo for a wholesaler is you take 65% of the after repair value minus repair costs. 65% of the after repair value minus repair costs, and that gives us the Mayo. That gives us what we should offer. For example, if the after repair value, once the house is completely renovated, if it's worth $300,000, if it could sell for $300,000, we take 65% of that, which is $195,000, and then we subtract out the repair costs. And let's say the repair cost is $60,000. And so we subtracted 60,000 from the 195, which gives us 135. Our offer, our maximum allowable offer to the motivated seller is 135. So we try to negotiate and get them under contract for 135. And then we assign a contract to a cash buyer at 70% of the after repair value minus repair cost. 70% of 300,000 is 210, minus the $60,000 in repairs is 150. And so as a cash buyer in that scenario, I'm happy buying it for 150. If Andre is able to get that property under contract for 135, assign it to me for 150, the assignment agreement is going to say, I'm going to take over the contract that's at 135, but also on the assignment agreement it's saying that I'm going to pay Andre $15,000 wholesale fee. Now, the question is, how do you get after repair value? You get after repair value if you're not a real estate agent that has access to the MLS. To pull your own comps, you use a real estate agent, or you use the cash buyer. Andre might take me to the property or give me the address, and I'll tell him what I would pay for the property. Coach or a mentor can go to the property and help calculate after repair value and repair costs. Now you can use PropStream, the CRM PropStream, Real eFlow, eStately.com, and HomeSnap. All of them you can run comps, and they use the same MLS system that realtors use. And so, Andre, let me ask you this question. When you go to a property or get access to an opportunity, how do you go about establishing whether it's a good deal or not? Do you use the Mayo formula? Like, what do you do to determine whether it's a deal or not?
Absolutely. I use the Mayo formula. I also look at the area. Certain areas are booming right now. I look at all of that, and I say to myself as an investor, will I buy this property at this price? So and I take all that into account, and I do my Mayo formula, and I put my offers in that way. And normally I come out pretty good because the investors always want the properties, because I always get them in pretty good areas, pretty much.
Yeah, you do. And so what are the areas? And so the areas that you guys should be looking at is older neighborhoods, because you can buy low and sell high, or put them under contract low and assign those contracts, at a price where a cash buyer will want to buy those properties or buy that property, renovate it, and sell. So those are the type of areas. And so most of you guys are here in the DMV. We say inside the Beltway. So you're looking at inside the Beltway in Prince George's County. Like we say all the heights and the hills, like Capital
Height.
uh, Capitol Heights, Suitland. Andre's finding them in Suitland, Oxford
Road, everywhere.
all those places. And then anywhere in DC, especially east of the river, like Southeast, Congress Heights, Marshall Heights, Fort DuPont. I was in Fort DuPont yesterday. All of those places are great for wholesaling, but older neighborhoods. So you get cities like Baltimore, DC, where you got houses that are 100 years old. One house might sell for after repair value over $1 million, but you might be able to put it under contract, something that needs a complete renovation for, let's say, $400,000, or even $500,000 would be a good deal. And so you're able to do that. And so those are the type of areas that you're looking for. And so, Andre, when we talk about marketing, you're hustling every single day, every day. It seems like at least once or twice a week, you've got a deal. What are you doing? Like, I mean, I know you're doing a lot of networking, a lot of talking. You seem a little subtle today, a little calm.
Today, I'm not gonna lie. So my wife is in Punta Cana. I forgot how to say it. Dominican Republic, right? So I got the kids, and I'm ran to my mother's house. Took my stepdaughter to her basketball stuff. So my head is all over.
You're good. Normally Andre's a little more hype.
But no, but I'm excited. I do want to say that I like you were saying, these properties, you want to buy them in like older neighborhoods. I do a lot of marketing. I do a lot of talking to people. Like I get on social media and I do a lot of marketing every day. I just let people know that I'm an investor. I also listen to other investors. So I got a group of investors that I talk to, and they tell me what they are looking for. They tell me their criteria. So it's almost like, a waitress taking down something on the menu, and I just go out and find what they want. And usually you get paid a good number. You know what I mean?
So are you still doing bandit signs?
Yes, I'm doing bandit signs. So like I said, I just take my bandit signs, I post them up on stop signs and stuff like that on the side of the road. And I usually get a couple calls a week from that. And usually it's either a buyer that you can add to your buyers list, a seller. Every now and then you get a seller, and that's, you're going fishing. So that's what I call myself doing. So I do that. I cold call. I also, just talk to people in neighborhoods, just door knocking, just talking to people. Hey, who got this property over here? If they want to sell. Oh yeah, they trying to sell. Okay, tell them to call me. And you'd be surprised, people will call you. I pass out my business cards. Like I'm just out here really in people's faces, talking to them and just letting them know this is what I do. And I'm branding myself, so deals come to me. I think an agent from your brokerage, Bennett Realty, came to me, and I got my buyer on it right away. She came to me, she called me and said, "Hey, I got a deal over here in Southeast. I need a buyer. Can you bring me a buyer?" And I had her a buyer in 30 minutes. So I just try to brand myself enough and talk to people enough where they know this is what I do and I'm serious about it, and I'm the go-to guy for it. I'm the plug. I'm the man for it, per se.
And so you brand it yourself, and so that's good. I think the the property in Suitland, Andre owns a barbershop, and so you were talking to somebody in your barbershop. Is that how you found out when it's
Yes. So I was, just like by branding myself on social media, a guy came in the barbershop. And he was saying his neighbor needed help because, I've been telling people that I help with pre-foreclosure situations. This lady was behind on payments, and she's been behind for almost 2 years, and she was about to go through foreclosure. So I went on and went over there. The numbers didn't work for a short sale because she was so behind. I mean, for a traditional wholesale, yeah. So so I had to do a short sale. And that's what came in for as far as me being an agent as well. But I got the short sale approved, and now I wholesale it off to you, Greg, and who's purchasing the property cash, and yeah, pretty much that's the gist of the business.
That one property in Bowie, I remember about a month or so ago, you called me on a Sunday.
Yeah.
How did you find that property?
So I found that property, your brother Keith Bennett. So, you know, I'm on his calls every Thursday, his investment calls, and he gives out pre-foreclosure lists and stuff like that, and, you know, expired listings. He gives out a few lists and everything. And I woke up on a Sunday morning at about 8:30, and I said, you know what? I'm going to try my hand. I went on and called a few numbers, and bam, a lady called me back and said, who is this? And, you know, she was like, how can I trust you and everything? And I let her know I was an agent. I told her, you can look my office up, yada, yada, yada. She told me she was behind on payments. I went over there with a blank agreement. You know, I usually try to pre-fill everything. I went over there, got her under contract. And sure enough, you know, she also needed a short sale. But, and I'm also wholesaling that property off. Got that property short sale approved. I'm wholesaling that property off to another investor. I know you came and looked at that property. You know, you were in love with the property. You know,
So I think the bottom line is, and so Andre, you just do a wonderful job in terms of taking action and having big goals. And you say you woke up on a Sunday morning and you had this pre-foreclosure list, and you said, I'm just going to start calling this list. I will tell you, though, that part of what a lot of our coaching students do is call. Keith hosts the telemarketing, telesales call every Thursday night, where you guys role play and just go over scripts and things like that. One of the best lists that you can call is a pre-foreclosure list, especially now with a lot of houses in pre-foreclosure, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. But that's one of the best lists that you can call. Pre-foreclosure list, absentee owner list. We can get a list of homeowners in a particular area that own their properties free and clear. And so with those lists, you can call those lists, you can door knock those lists, or you can send a postcard out to those lists. And all three I've done in my career, and all three work.
Hey, Ray, can I get some advice? I just want everybody to know if you're thinking about doing this. I know it's, you know, some people don't like the cold call, and they think about, oh, I got to call these people and they might hang up on me. You know, we all taking telemarketers calls and we hang up on them. But the thing is the thing is that I'm hungry, Greg. So I'm the type of person, my wife even, like, she's like, damn, all you talk about is real estate, man. Like, I mean, give it a break. We on it. Like, I eat, sleep, and think about real estate and my next deal and how I'm going to do this. So the thing is, it's really not about the money. I just like the business. So it's like I'm always on my mind. So that's why I woke up 8:30 in the morning, cold calling. I get up early in the morning. I might call Mr. Battle at 7:30. He's like, damn, Cooper, what you calling me so early for? Like, I'm always thinking and talking about real estate. So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm going to keep finding these deals because, you know, it's just a nonstop hustle. So, I mean, you know, it's very doable. It's real. I mean, if you just take action, and you got to get some mentorship, you know, so you can know how to do this. And once you do it, it's a trade, you know, forever.
Yeah, and it's something that, like you said, you'll definitely have forever, and you should do it forever. How do you have a list of cash buyers?
Yes.
So when you find an opportunity, you've got, and I know I'm on that cash buyers list. Hopefully, I'm number one on that list.
Yeah, you up there.
But you're smart. You've got a number of people on that cash buyers list. And as a wholesaler, you guys, if you're taking notes, write that down. Write this down. Cash, you're as strong as a wholesaler. Right. You're only as strong as your cash buyers list. I would say number one priority is to find the opportunities, but then number two is the strength of your cash buyers list. So Andre, talk about how have you put together your cash buyers list?
I put my cash buyers list basically by networking, talking to investors. Like I said, I take it down on the menu. I ask them what they want, and then I show my performances. Like I like to perform, so I get on social media and I show my closings or my wholesale deals and stuff like that. So I can show them this is what I'm doing. So other investors will call me and say, "Hey, damn, he must got product." Let me holler at them and can I get on your list? Can I be? So you want to be the type of investor and wholesaler that people value you so much. It's not like they trying to miss your call. They want to answer your call as soon as you call them because they know you have value and you have something. So, I just network with people. I always have product for them and I always have good product. I got good deals, and that's how I build my cash buyers list.
And do you ever get in a bidding war with your cash buyers?
Yeah, I do actually. But so the thing is that what I do I try to minimize some of that. I do get in a bidding, but sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not. You know what I mean? Because I got relationships with my cash buyers. That's another thing, relationships. Like it's not just about selling the property and making money. You're not going to make money on every deal. Sometimes it's about the relationships. So sometimes just to make this guy happy or have this relationship with this person, I'll take a hit or cut in my pay or whatever. I mean, you still want to get a good, you still want to make sure you secure yourself and take care of yourself. But I make sure I have relationships. So I do get into bidding wars every now and then, but I'll choose the investors I want to have in that war. You understand what I'm saying? So if it's somebody who I'm like, you know what, I know this guy's hungry, he want this, I'll let them fight over it, and maybe I'll get more money out of it or something.
Right. So here's the thing, and I've seen a lot of wholesalers fail because they ask for too much money or too high of a wholesale fee, and they lose the deal. And so I think to your point, Andre, you've got to know your number so you don't get cheated, but you don't want to talk yourself out of making money and ask for too much money as a wholesaler.
Yes.
And so as a wholesaler, you have a window of time to get a cash buyer. And so on a contract, I taught a contracts class to our platinum coaching students a couple of weeks ago, and we just went over the contract. You primarily have 2 or 3 weeks to find a cash buyer. Now, what I teach though in our program is what's called reverse wholesaling, where you have the cash buyer in hand. You have the cash buyer in hand before you even look at the property. You give them a call, the cash buyer, and get an idea of what they would buy the property for, so that when you sign the contract, you already have a cash buyer, and so there's no stress that way.
I think that's the best strategy. Yeah.
But if you put a property on the contract, you don't have a cash buyer, you've got a very short period of time. And I've seen cash buyers actually put up a deposit, go under contract, not be able to find a cash buyer because they're too greedy and they lose their deposit. Right. And so I don't want that to happen to you guys. So number one, you've got to put the properties under contract for the right price. Have your cash buyer in hand when you're making the offer. Learn the contracts so that in the contract, in our contract that we use, that we give our platinum coaching students, there's at least 2 or 3 ways to get out of the contract. I've written contingencies in the contract so that they're unable to find a cash buyer, or they put the property on the contract for the wrong price, they're unable to find a cash buyer, they can get out the contract. I put some contingencies in there. But if you don't use those contingencies, I've seen people lose $10,000, $15,000. But then the other thing is wholesaling correctly simply means you're not putting up any money. The cash buyer is putting up the earnest money deposit.
Hey, Greg, I want to tell them my last wholesale deal I did. Matter of fact, I did it with Rashida. I got away with a $10 EMD.
A $10 EMD.
$10.
Okay, all right. And so we do want to write these contracts very favorable to us. I don't know about $10 EMD.
Hey, look, they were so motivated because they were going through a divorce. They wasn't reading they didn't care about that. I look at it like this: I'm doing you a favor. I'm selling your property, and you ain't got to pay me. So I put $10 down there. They signed it. Bam. But I got that from another investor. Another investor told me to try it out. And I did.
Well, you tried it out, and I'm glad it worked that time.
But look, when I went to the title company, right, I went to Celebrate Settlements. They was like, damn, how you get away with this? How did you get away with $10? And then you made this fee off of this that quick? Like that was a good deal.
And so we're saying EMD stands for earnest money deposit. So on any contract of any kind, there's got to be some type of what we call consideration. Right. And so on any type of real estate deal, whether it's a regular purchase or investment, you've got to put up a deposit. And so what Andre is saying is generally deposit is either $1,000 on a purchase contract. A regular purchase contract is about 1% of the sales price. Andre said he got away with just $10, which I've never done, never seen. Yeah. But I mean, and so the other thing is, if that had been a wise seller, or the seller had an agent, they would look at you like you were crazy.
Like I was crazy. Yeah.
They would have threw the contract in the trash. Yeah. But that's and so look, speaking of earnest money deposits, when we're wholesaling, you guys, as a wholesaler, listen to this. There's two deposits. There's a deposit on the contract, on the purchase and sales agreement. And on the assignment agreement, let's say on the assignment agreement, the wholesale fee is $20,000. You want the cash buyer to also put down a deposit on the wholesale fee. So there's two deposits, one on the purchase and sales contract, one on the assignment agreement. You want to make sure that cash buyer is serious. You're going to be paying me $20,000, but I want you to put up $5,000 now. Now both deposits are put up by the cash buyer, and both deposits are held by the title company. As a wholesaler, don't hold any money, just in case the deal doesn't go through. Here's what I've seen. I've seen wholesalers hold the deposit for the assignment fee. The deal didn't go through because there were some title issues, no fault of theirs. Now the cash buyer is saying, okay, the deal didn't go through. Where's my $5,000? Right. And you know what the wholesaler did with the $5,000? They already spent it. And so don't hold any money. Let the title company hold the money. At settlement, you're going to get that $5,000 plus, in this case, the other $15,000 wired to you. Your only responsibility after as a wholesaler, after the purchase contract is signed, the assignment contract is signed, you want to make sure that that the title company has both agreements. You're communicating as a wholesaler. You want to make sure that the title company has your wiring instructions. You don't necessarily have to be at settlement, although I do see some wholesalers go to settlement. You just want to make sure you get a copy of the HUD-1 or the ALTA to make sure that your fee is on there. And then you also want to make sure that they wire you your money. That's your responsibility at settlement. I had one wholesaler. He had a cash buyer that he didn't know. Put his deal on Craigslist and found a cash buyer, didn't know him. They get to settlement, and he calls the title company and says, "Where's my money?" And they said there's no money. And he calls the cash buyer. Cash buyer doesn't answer the phone. The mistake he made was he didn't sign an assignment agreement. He trusted this person, and he lost money. Then he got into my coaching program, and now I'm not going to mention his name, but now he's killing it. Let's answer a couple questions. Do you make the cash buyer's deposit? Not, and so on our assignment agreement, it's non-refundable, but it is refundable if, for example, there's some title issues. So if they don't close by no because if they don't close and it's the seller's issue, then they do get their deposit back. But yeah, it's non-refundable. It's definitely non-refundable. Let's see, understood. Okay, all right. All right, so what's next? Can you wholesale auction properties? Can you wholesale short sales, foreclosed properties? So look, you guys, anything, you can wholesale any real property, whether it's even a business, multi-family properties, commercial properties, all of those types of properties. You can wholesale all of those types of properties. Now, we were talking about title. You want to only use a title company that's investor friendly. We have our investor friendly title company that just came in the house. This is Tarsha. Hey, Tarsha.
Hi.
Hey, Tarsha.
And so I heard you talking about that deal, Andre. We were the title company that handled that deal.
Yeah, I know. And I know y'all seen my $10 EMD.
Yes.
I made the end buyer put up a $2,500 EMD, though. I paid $10.
Right.
And so, Tarsha, talk to us about, as a investor-friendly title company, wholesaling. What are some of the dynamics that you guys see as far as wholesalers?
So I think there are a few things. Number one, the title company has to understand wholesaling, because honestly, even for employees that have worked for our title company that have been in the business for 30 years, they kind of come in, if they don't know investing and don't understand how to process transactions from a title company perspective or from an investment perspective, they'll mess up your deal. And because they'll think, oh, is this proper? We can't do this. And they start to interfere and kind of step over the line when they shouldn't. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I hear you now.
Yeah, sorry, a call came in. And so I think number one, make sure the title company that you're using and their processors understand investments, understand wholesaling, and aren't going to mess up your deal. So that's number one. Number two, even the most seasoned wholesalers sometimes don't understand the value of making sure that their compensation, their wholesale fee is on the settlement sheet. And so I've seen wholesalers that do the kind of that portion of the deal, their fee outside of settlement, and then they don't get their money. And so it's really important for you to not be afraid to put your wholesale fee on the settlement sheet, because that's a risk of you not getting paid. And go ahead.
And say, so speaking of that, sometimes a wholesaler doesn't necessarily want.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you, Greg.
Can you hear me, Andre?
I can hear you. I hear you. You hear me, Tasha? Can you hear?
I think I might have to leave and come back in.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
We hear you, though. Okay.
And so she'll come back in. Let me make this quick point because I think Donna asked the question, can you wholesale a short sale? And so I talked about our purchase and sales agreement. When we're using, when we're buying or wholesaling short sales, anything on the MLS, foreclosures, generally speaking, we're not using our investor contract. We're using a board approved contract, the contract that most real estate agents use. And so in that contract, it says that the contract is not assignable. And so the way we get around that is we, as wholesalers, we put ourselves in an LLC. So we'll set up an LLC, what I call a generic LLC, a new LLC that nothing's in it. We generally use the address LLC. For short sale, we do that. So 123 Main Street is the buyer. We do have to provide, in most cases, an operating agreement and articles of incorporation. So we go ahead and incorporate that, pay, I don't know, $150, $200 to do so. Once that short sale gets approved, now what we do is we have another agreement that we assign the interest of the LLC to a cash buyer for a fee, and that's how we that's how we're able to wholesale auction properties. We're able to wholesale short sales, foreclosures, all those types of properties. We assign the rights and the interests of the LLC that we created to a cash buyer for a fee. Looks like Tarsha's having technical difficulties.
Tarsha.
Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Can you? I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and explain. So there's a line item for the assignment fee or for the wholesale fee.
Correct.
Oftentimes the wholesaler, they don't, even though the motivated seller has already agreed to allow them to assign, because on our contract, we have in two places that the contract is assignable. And I think it's paragraph 11, it says it's assignable. And then in paragraph 1, it says the buyer's name, which preferably is an LLC, but it'll say the buyer's name and or assigns, or the buyer name assignee, so they can assign it. But sometimes we don't want the seller to know that we're actually assigning or making money. As a title company, what are you able to put on the line item so that they don't necessarily know that you're making a fee?
I mean, you can put consultant fee. You can label it any way you want, and on the buyer side. And to be honest, you guys, sellers don't pay attention to what's going on the buyer side. They just want to see their number, their bottom line number, and make sure that they're getting their money. And so, to be very honest with you, it's typically the title company or some other third party in the transaction that starts to bring things to people's attention and screw up the deal. And so it's typically not the seller who really cares. I mean, they've already negotiated the amount that they want, and they just want to see that they're getting their money. And so, to be honest, as wholesalers, just focus on the deal and focus less on, worrying about the seller being concerned about your fee. But nonetheless, we can still label it any way you want, really. And I say this knowing that even the title insurer who underwrites us I've had these conversations with the title insurer, with the underwriters, and they don't care. Like nobody cares about your transaction. So long as you put it on the settlement sheet and you disclose it in any way that you want to, you're fine from a legal perspective, if that's the concern. And then also from a disclosure perspective, again, put it on there. And I tell you, 8 times out of 10, the seller is not really paying attention to what's going on the buyer's side.
Right, because it's not even on their side.
Right.
It's on the buyer's side. I mean, I've put wholesale fee, assignment fee, but you can put consultant fee. You can put marketing fee if you want to. It just really doesn't matter. Title company is going to take that money. Let's say it's $20,000, and they're going to wire you the wholesaler the money, but it doesn't come out of the seller's money. It comes out of the cash buyer's money. So it's on the cash buyer side, and generally it's a split settlement anyway. And so with the split settlement, Tarsha, you guys are only going over the seller side of the Alta or the HUD-1 anyway, right?
Right. I mean, they see the whole document, but again, their focus is on their bottom line. Like, how much money am I walking away with? And that's all they care about. Again, 8 times out of 10, they're not paying attention. And it's usually other parties that frankly have no interest in the transaction that are highlighting and asking questions. And so,
Generally, it's a title company that is not familiar with wholesaling,
Right.
correct.
and that's not investor friendly.
Correct.
Right.
And to that point, another key component, and it highlights the point that you just made, is the value of the transaction. So a lot of people that are not investors will raise their eyebrows or even exclaim when they see the amount that's being exchanged in the transaction and say, "Oh, this can't be possible." And particularly, again, title companies that are not familiar or not investors themselves or familiar with those types of transactions will look at the assessed value of the property and say, "Oh my goodness, how could this be? How can you do this transaction? It can't be permissible." And that's just simply not true.
Right.
We've even had the recorder's office
I was getting ready to say that.
raise their hand and say, "This is not allowed," like, and come back to us and say the assessed value is lower than or higher than what your chart, what this transaction purchase price is. This cannot be. And in PG County, where we are, there's actually an affidavit that you just to let you guys know that are in this area, and if you're wholesaling in PG County, there's actually an affidavit that you file with PG County that um, basically the seller and the buyer are agreeing to the actual price, even if it's less than the assessed value of the property that's on the tax record. And so those are the kind of the three major things that I see on the title side: is keep the parties that are not involved in the transaction out of the transaction, make sure your fee is on the transaction, and then make sure that you're using a title company that understands how to do those deals and isn't going to, kind of intrude in a way that has nothing to do with them as a title company. And then also, I see you Andre, coming to the settlement. It's not you as the wholesaler. It's not necessary for you to come to the settlement. You can, but if you have an investor friendly title company, because we're going to get you your money,
Right.
because we understand the deal, and we're going to make sure that we're not going to mess up the deal or go to the seller and say, "Oh my God, do you see what's happening here? Why would you sell your house for this amount?"
And
Uh,
that's happened before.
yes, and so
It happens
we
all the time.
we understand the transaction. We understand that not all sellers are necessarily motivated by the highest price. There are other, to your point about the couple that's going through a divorce, that's their motivation to
Yeah.
move on. And so kind of understanding that, and choosing your title company wisely, but then also knowing the transaction and understanding the parts. Like, another thing I see is the title company not understanding that it's the end buyer that should be on the settlement sheet as the buyer. They get confused, but there's a buyer on the first contract who's this other person, and again, now they start making phone calls because they're confused, and they're messing up your deal. And
Right.
so that understanding, even as an investor, understanding what Greg described about who the parties are, how the fees are paid, really understand and get that education, because you have to be the master and act with confidence when you're doing these deals so that you can speak intelligently about them.
And you want to feel safe that the title company is not going to screw your money up and screw your deal up. And then, and kind of to that point, as a wholesaler, you guys have to have a team. Like, you've got
Right.
to have a team of people. Your cash buyers are part of your team. The title company is part of your team. Whoever's going to assess the repair cost, coach, mentor, is part of your team. And honestly, the technology that we're using is part of your team. You're using PropStream. You're using Real eFlow. Um, estately.com to pull comps. Whatever that is, you've got to establish a really good, strong team so that when you guys find deals, you know that you're going to get paid. And so that's the thing. And then part of the technology is you've got to establish a follow-up system. And I don't know how you do it, Andre, but when you guys are finding properties, it's not one and done. If they say no, then you're off to the next one. You've got to have a follow-up system that's going to follow up with that
Absolutely.
motivated seller. They may not be ready now, but they could be ready in the future. And so I remember I renovated a property in DC in the Deanwood section, Northeast. It was a semi-detached. The one that was attached to it, the parents had recently died right after I purchased the property. The parents died. And so I found out about it, gave them a call. One of the sons that was in charge of the estate, he was the personal representative. He just wasn't ready yet. So I renovated the property, sold the property, and I just stayed in touch. I had a system where we would send him an email. I was able to get his email address. I would periodically call. 2 years later, I called, and he was ready. Now he had been grieving. His two brothers, in his opinion, really hadn't been taking care of the parents like he had, and so kind of to spite them, he just took his time. And he knew they wanted the money, but he was in charge of the estate. But 2 years later, he was ready to sell. And long story short, I helped him through the whole probate process. I took him to probate court a couple times, and because I kept following up, I got the deal, got the wholesale deal, I got the deal, wholesale that property, and I made a pretty good wholesale fee. But you've got to have a system, and so you guys, we utilize. I've talked about PropStream, Real eFlow. We utilize technology. Even when we're finding properties, we can talk about it now, how to find properties. Driving for dollars, we utilize technology, Deal Machine. So when we pull up to a property, we take out our app on our phone, the Deal Machine app, put the address in. If the house looks to be vacant or abandoned, we're able to put the address in, and Deal Machine, probably 70% of the time, will give us the homeowner's name and phone number. And so we're able to call them. We're able to send them a postcard as well, right when we're right in front of the property. And so, Andre, you've talked some about how you find properties. Tarsha, you're actually also an investor. Talk a little bit about how you've been able to find your deals.
So auction properties are one source, but you do need to really know how to structure the contract when you're wholesaling, making sure it's in the address LLC, as you were saying earlier. And then also, I found it most effective to identify a neighborhood that you want to farm, and just really build relationships with the individuals in that neighborhood and let them know who you are, let them know what you do, so that, as Greg said, this is not something that is one and done or happens overnight. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it takes time for you to find good deals that are going to yield you the kind of money that you want as a wholesaler. And so it takes kind of nurturing and planting the seeds with people that might sell one day for whatever reason. And so kind of identifying one or two or three neighborhoods and saturating that neighborhood with different forms of marketing, I think it is the best approach. So if you identify a neighborhood that you see as distressed, but you see a lot of opportunity there, and kind of earlier, before you start seeing every other house on the block being renovated, because now people are not stupid. Like, when they see their neighborhood kind of picking up, then they're going to start to want numbers that are not going to work for us as investors. But early on in that process, if you see that a neighborhood, you'll see one renovation, or you'll see distressed properties, but surrounding the area, you'll see a lot of development in a neighborhood or in an area, then that's an area that's ripe for opportunity. And so it's getting warmer, and now COVID is less of an issue. Walk the neighborhood, talk to people, um, get to know them, and you will identify homes that are abandoned. And now you go back and you do your homework. Okay, this home is abandoned. Who lives in the home? Who owns the home? In Maryland or in DC, you can look online and see who the homeowner is. Okay, now how do you find the homeowner? You have to skip trace and identify who lives in the property, or who owns the property. Now, sometimes you'll learn that you can't get in touch with that homeowner, so you don't know where that homeowner is. But with a lot of those tracing apps, you'll find family members that are affiliated with the homeowner, and so you call the family members. And that's what I've done literally to find investment property. So I can't find the homeowner, I'll find the aunt or the cousin, and they're like, yeah, my grandmother's in the nursing home, and that literally happened to me. And so I called the family member, and the family member will say, yeah, my aunt's in the nursing home, and then you take it from there. So it does take some investigation on your part, some due diligence, some persistence, but then the reward is huge. And
So you skip traced the family member, well, the homeowner, and you were able to get the name and number of a family member. You called the family member. The family member said that the homeowner was in a nursing home. You didn't go to the nursing home.
you guys, I went,
you wouldn't do that, would you?
with Greg's instruction.
I had nothing to do with it.
I will.
With Greg's instruction, I went to the nursing home, guys, because it's opportunity. And you know what? Not only is it opportunity, you're helping out that person. That woman that was at the nursing home, there were people taking advantage of her, actually. There were people that were trying to strip her of her property and not give her what was rightfully hers. And when I went to go and see her, that was what was happening. When I ran title, I learned that there was another individual that was trying to pay the taxes and take her home from her.
Wow.
And so, believe it or not, you're helping people. And that's what we should all be mindful of. Like, this is not just about us making money. We're actually helping a person in a distressed situation get out of it and relieve them of that pain and that stress. And I'm kind of on the lending side as well. I do a lot of financing, and I learned that we're helping people. Like, people are very distressed about finances and about their bills and about their monthly payments. And when you can lift that burden off of someone's shoulder, it's a blessing for them. And so, don't hesitate to ask people, do you want to sell your home? Because it might be for them an answer to their prayer. Like, thank God I can get this stress off of my head that they literally deal with for years sometimes. And so, kind of move forward with that kind of confidence, knowing that you're not taking advantage of someone, you're helping someone a lot of times relieve a burden, a stress that they deal with every single day. And so that's why I say talk to people, get to know them, get to know the neighborhood. Go to the restaurant, the local restaurant, and tell the waitress, which I've done, I wholesale, I buy properties, I flip properties. If you know of anybody that comes in here and is talking about the stress of a property, call me, because I can relieve them of that stress. And so, now that it's getting warmer, now and the people are coming out again, it's ripe opportunity, particularly because, remember, guys, a lot of people were in forbearance. They were asking to not have to pay their mortgage payments, and all of that is being lifted. And so now they're going to have to deal with paying mortgage payments that they probably can't afford. And so that's on the horizon. So I would use that as opportunity to take advantage of talking to people and finding out if people are in distress. You can easily search like foreclosed or houses that are in pre-foreclosure, and identify individuals that might want to either wholesale or do a subject to, or find different ways, again, for you guys to take opportunity and make money and then help people.
Right? And that's the biggest thing. So start to give your information. We've got a couple of questions about title company. I know it's Celebrate Settlements. Are you able to put your information in the comment section?
Yeah. So our title company, I can't. I'm not able to on my end. Is you guys send all of your questions or your information to contracts@celebratesettlements.com. If you could write that in, Greg, it's contracts with an S at celebratesettlements.com. That comes to everybody on the team, and all of the team members. There are five people in the title company. They're all well versed in investment properties and wholesaling, and can help you guys answer your questions, guide you through the process, and offer you counsel on how to make sure that your deal gets to the table and that you guys get paid. And then also on the lending side, I'm with PRMG, and Greg can put in my information. It's T and my last name, Philibert, at prmg.net.
And then also give us your Instagram handle.
Tarsha Talks Real Estate Finance.
Okay, so you guys, so friend her there. Tarsha Talks Real Estate Finance. Andre, what's your Instagram?
My Instagram is Cooper Does Invest, and also I have another one, Cooper Does Real Estate. But Cooper Does Invest is my main page. You can follow me on Cooper Does Invest.
Well, follow them. Those two. Obviously, follow me as well. Look, you guys, real quick. We're over an hour. 60-day challenge. Here's my 60-day challenge for you guys. Write it down. Write it down. 60-day challenge. And so I believe that everyone on here, we've got a good showing. We're into the 80s, 82 people. I believe everyone can wholesale a property. I believe everyone can wholesale a property within the next 60 days. Wholesale your first property. Make 15,000, 20,000. Some of us average $30,000 on a wholesale deal. I believe that you guys want to do it. I believe you can do it. So here's my challenge to you. And again, you guys, I'm reading off the handout that's on my Instagram page. Just go to my click on the link in my profile. 60-day challenge. Find a market. Number one. Generally a targeted market where you are, where you live, where you're from. Older neighborhoods. Start thinking about what are the older neighborhoods that are around you that you can walk the neighborhoods. You can go driving for dollars in those neighborhoods to find deals. Do some marketing. You can go driving for dollars today, like I just said. You can go to the probate office, put up bandit signs in that particular area like Andre does. You can get lists. melissadata.com, listsource.com, listability.com. My preference would be, if you really want to get into this, you've got to buy a CRM, PropStream, Google PropStream. And PropStream has everything in PropStream, has everything that you need as a real estate investor. It's got the skip tracing. It's got all the marketing tools, repair estimator. All those things are in PropStream. So get the automation. Auctions. Go to the auctions. My students are using Hubzu, auction.com, Xome, XOME.com. And they're going to the auctions at the courthouse steps. You can, and locally, you can go to alexcooper.com to find the auctions on the courthouse steps. But the key to your success, you guys, as a wholesaler, as a real estate investor as a whole, is the marketing piece. And that's where a lot of people fail. I prided myself early in my career on marketing. Andre prides himself on marketing. Tarsha, when she first moved here from New York, she started walking neighborhoods. I remember one time she was walking a neighborhood and she called me and I said, "Where are you?" And she was walking a neighborhood that I probably wouldn't have been marketing, but she's from New York. She didn't know the difference.
Looked like a nice neighborhood to me compared to New York.
She was in the hood somewhere.
But she found a neighborhood, Brookland in Northeast, that she just started walking that neighborhood and found got two deals. Just walking the neighborhoods, talking to the neighbors. And that's what you guys have to do. You know, Andre said something earlier that for me was profound. He said he's hungry. And so for you guys, you've got to be hungry. I know Tarsha's hungry. She's walking neighborhoods. You guys have to want it, and you've got to do what everybody else is not doing. And so you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. All of these things work, you guys, but you guys have to take action, and you've got to be consistent with it. So all contacting real estate agents have deals. Most of the real estate agents, they don't even know about investing. And so when I became an agent, I said to myself, I'm going to make a good living selling real estate, and I'm going to be the best at it, but I'm going to build my fortune, build my legacy, build generational wealth, investing in real estate. Yeah. You'll never get that just selling. A real estate agent will have a listing and they've got a piece of gold on their hands where they can actually list the property and get a wholesale fee. that's a conversation for another day. But they don't do it. So contact agents to get deals. The next thing I want you to do today is assemble your cash buyers list. And so to put me up front, I'm being selfish, but you've got to get a cash buyers list. And so we've got to find the properties, and then we've got to know who to wholesale those deals to. Where do you find your cash buyers? You can go to auctions. Almost every auction daily, there's an auction somewhere. Cash buyers are at the auctions in front of the courthouse steps. You can build your cash buyers list there. We have a meetup, and maybe next month. I'll talk to Keith, my brother, just to kind of evaluate how COVID is doing. But at the RIA meetings, at the meetups, you can find cash buyers there. Build your cash buyers list so that when you find these opportunities as a wholesaler, you've got someone to wholesale these properties to. Now, but sooner or later, once you start learning wholesaling and start making money, I want you to graduate to buying and holding properties. That's really where the wealth is. And then for some of you guys, also fixing and flipping. But building that cash buyers list. I talked about building a team. Who's on your team? Do you need a contractor on your team? Do you need a real estate agent on your team? Tarsha's the investor-friendly title company. And so you need all that. Do you need an accountant? You do. You need an accountant that understands real estate investing. Celebrate Settlements. You can go to the website, celebratesettlements.com. You can reach her. What's it, Tarsha? What's your handle again?
Tarsha Talks Real Estate Finance.
You can find her there. But you've got to build a team. And then the marketing. I can't tell you how important the marketing is. The follow-up, we're following up. We like to say that the fortune is in the follow-up. Most of the deals that we close didn't come at the first touch, didn't come at the second or third touch. Got to keep touching. And so you've got to create a really good follow-up system. Do your research. Having a coach or a mentor is going to get you to your goals a lot faster. You can actually go into my bio, and our platinum coaching program is there. There's a lot of wonderful coaching programs out here. But I know the strength of ours. And so ours is hands-on. We meet and touch our students every week. We've got a Q&A every Tuesday. I do one-on-ones. Keith, my brother, does one-on-ones with our students. We're in the classroom learning. For example, next week we're out in the field. So at least once a month we're out in the field. And so we're gonna shadow me in Baltimore. We're gonna shadow one or two of our other students who purchase properties in Baltimore. And then we're going to Little Italy and have a nice networking session and have lunch right afterwards. But we do that once a month where we get together a couple times, either in the classroom and or out in the field. Keith does one-on-ones. I go out to properties with my coaching students. And so it's a very hands-on approach, very affordable. Part of the reason why I started the coaching program is I saw a lot of great programs out here nationally, but a lot of the people that I really care about was just, you couldn't afford them. $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. So we set ours up at Bennett Boot Camps where it was affordable, because I want everybody to, experience generational wealth and have multiple streams of income. You guys can actually, if you want to, I'm going to put this banner up. You want to have a one-on-one appointment with me, go to gbschedule.com, gbschedule.com. That's just going to scroll. If you want to talk one-on-one about our coaching program, or if you have a deal, go to gbschedule.com and get on my schedule. I'd love to talk to you about our coaching program and any other things related to building wealth. But have a plan, you guys. Put together a business plan. Have your strategy. Now, again, I want your strategy to be to only really use wholesaling as a means to build wealth, buying and holding properties. I want you to buy and hold ultimately. That's how you're going to build wealth. That's what I want you to do is buy and hold. Because I want and then educate your children on how to build wealth and gain home ownership, have other properties, investment properties that you can leave for your children. That's building wealth. And that's what I really want for all of us. We've got to build wealth, learn the contracts. In our program, we give you all the contracts. We have an investor toolkit that has probably at least 50 different tools, contracts, different types of contracts, lessons, marketing materials, scripts, all those letters, all those types of things, postcards, all of those types of things. We give you your own dashboard where you have all the resources, contractors, hard money lenders, all those types of things. And Keith communicates with you through your own dashboard. Clinton, one of our coaching students, put this up. He puts Bennett Platinum Coaching Program is on fire. You can't go wrong. We love that. Thank you, Clinton. We're going to give you a free 6 months, Clinton. April Fool. Today, April Fool's Day. But look, guys. But look, let's get paid. It's 2022. Yesterday started the second quarter of the year. If your first quarter wasn't what you wanted it to be, let's get started now. It's time to make a change, and we've got to make a change. And so, in closing, Andre, we'll start with you. What advice would you give everybody? What advice would you give?
I would give everybody, if you want to be in this business, I would say go hard and go home. You just gotta get out here, pound the pavement. You gotta actually walk into your purpose. You gotta go out here and make it happen. Talk to people. You gotta generate leads. I mean, if you don't have any leads, you probably won't make any money. So you have to generate leads. That's the number one thing. And the only way to generate leads is to get out here and let people know that you're out here doing this. You can't be secret. You can't be a secret investor. You have to let everybody know this is what you do. And you got to take action.
That's the bottom line. You got
basically.
And I'm sorry, one last question, Andre. 3 years from now, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be 3 years from now?
Oh man, 3 years from now, I'm gonna be the biggest real estate selling person I ever seen in my life. No, I hope to be on a lot of properties. I hope in 3 years from now, I hope to have at least 7 to 10, and I would like to do a lot more wholesale deals. Like you said, I just want to generate more cash flow so I can buy and hold. So I hope to just generate more leads, do more deals so I can generate the cash flow so I can buy and hold. That's where I see myself in the next 3 years. And hopefully I'll be living financially free. And financially free to me is my mortgage, everything's taken care of, all my house bills, everything, all expenses, my kids' schools, all of that stuff is taken care of, and I'm financially free. So therefore, if I wanted to sit down for a month or two, I can, or just keep on hustling. You have options there,
Thank you for that. Tasha, what about you? What advice would you give, and where do you see yourself in 3 years?
So my advice would be to surround yourself with people that are in this business and in this space, so that, like Andre said, and I laugh because he said his wife says that all he does is talk about real estate. And I can appreciate how dealing with that day and night would probably drive someone crazy that's not as passionate about it. But I think as a result, I see your success. I see you on social media. I know who you are. I know Andre's a wholesaler. I know Andre sells real estate. I know what you do because you're constantly out there, and you also surround yourself with people who are like you. And so as a result, you've branded yourself. I haven't known you super long, but I know what you do. And I know what your craft is, and I can see, observe, and hear your passion. And I think you're kind of an example, as is Greg, of people know who you are and they know what you do. And so as a result, what will happen over time is now you can basically live off of your reputation and your brand. And that's ultimately my goal, is to get to the place where I'm not working for money, but money's working for me. And what that means is, for me personally, is multifamily properties where I don't have 8 separate properties, but I have 8 doors in one property that's generating, $2,000, $3,000 a month on each property. And now that's passive income for me. And so that's what I think about every single day, is what can I do now to get multifamily properties so that I can have that passive income. And now money's working for me, and I'm not working and grinding as much as I am now. But now if I am doing that, it's because I choose to, and I also have another stream of income that's coming in passively. And learning how to set up your whatever it is that you're doing in a way that you're not killing yourself. And so that's automation, that's leveraging resources, that's leveraging people as you, that's ultimately what's going to help you grow. That's ultimately what's going to help you grow. So that's all I have.
Hey, Tasha, I just want to say thank you for the compliment. And being surrounded by people like you and Greg, I will always be successful because you guys, I look at your success and I study with a fine tooth comb, and I swear, I appreciate everything you guys have done for me and all the knowledge you guys have poured into me. And I appreciate you on the title side. I'm always going to support. So I appreciate that. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Andre. And actually, the way that you show your appreciation is just simply be successful. That's really how you show your appreciation.
I'm gonna keep bringing them deals through.
And just and I believe you've got a couple more levels that you can go. Like, you can go even harder. And so that's really what I want to see this year. You went hard last year, and you pretty much made a name for yourself. But I do see a couple more levels that you can go. Let me answer a couple questions, and I'm going to get you guys out of here. Do you need a license? You don't need a license to invest in real estate. I always say, and the reason I got my license for one reason only, was to be a better investor, to give me more access. And so, no, you don't need to have a real estate license. There's a lot of successful investors that don't, but I think it helps. I think it helps out a lot. I think and so our platinum coaching program, I believe it's only $2,500. It's you can break that up into 6 payments, so whatever that is. But that information is actually on my Instagram page. Just click on the link in my bio. And so I want to answer that question. My advice for everyone, honestly, is just to take action. Like, get off the fence, take action. These guys talked about being around the right people. It's an old cliche, but it's true. You go to levels when you see those levels. You stay content when you're content. You hear the cliche: if you're the smartest person in your circle, you should get into a different circle. It's just, all those cliches are true. And so for me, the biggest advice that I want to give to you guys is to take action. I chose real estate investing because at 17 years old, I read an encyclopedia that 95% of all the wealth was from people who had real estate, who owned real estate. And so I said, one day I'm going to get into real estate and I'm going to be a full-time investor. And thank you, God, that I was able to do that. And I was able to do that at a very, very young age. That's what I want for you guys. It's never the wrong time to get into real estate. You're never too old, never too young. Whatever the market is, it's a good time to be in real estate. Where I want to be in 3 years is, I just want to continue to create more and more passive income for myself. I've been obsessing over assisted living facilities, and so in 3 years, you know, I hope to have a number of assisted living facilities and to really be doing well there, where I can help the elderly, because the baby boomers need that now. The number one concern for baby boomers now is housing, and where are they going to live and get the type of care. And I see that with my uncles and my aunts, and my father, he'll be 82 years old in August. And so I see the need, and I see the burden that a lot of baby boomers are having on their families, because they don't necessarily want to put them in care, but they're forced to because they need it. And so I want to provide, you know, a great service with assisted living facilities to give that great care that's needed. But that's where I want to be. I just want to continue to grow as a person. I want to continue to give as a person to help others build wealth. And so that's it, you guys. Oh, we're way over time. It's almost 10:30. But hopefully this has been worth it. Go to the comment section. Has this been worth it? Did you guys get a lot out of this talk this morning? Hopefully you guys did. Thank you to Andre. Thank you to Tarsha. If you guys want to set up a one-on-one meeting with me, go to GB Schedule. If you guys are interested in my Platinum Coaching Program, follow the three of us on social media. We're going to continue to give you guys great information. Have a great weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. Do something today, just one little thing that's going to lead to your ultimate goals, lead to you building generational wealth for yourself. Just do one little thing, even if it's just researching auction properties or looking at what PropStream can do for you guys, or driving your neighborhoods and looking to see if you find properties that look to be vacant or abandoned. Even getting Deal Machine today, or looking into it. Do one thing. I know it's leisure time. I know it's you know, it's the weekend, but just do one thing this weekend. Andre, you have something?
Greg, I just wanted to tell everybody, if you're into the business and you want to get into the business, feel free. You can call me at 202-391-3698, and you can follow me at Cooper Does Invest. I'm able to help. If you have a deal or something and you need a buyer, I have buyers always on standby. They're ready to close that deal, so we can definitely joint venture. I'm ready to help any way I can. So I'm just here to help, and you know, we can do some business. So give me a call.
All right, you guys. Andre has the last word. Take care, you guys. God bless. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.